it's Diana. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I have a interesting video that I'm going to be doing today. It is going to be a combination of fluid art, and also I'm going to be dipping my nails, and I'm going to show you a new collection that I have in my possession. So before I jump into dipping my nails and talking about those colors, I wanted to insert a clip, a short reel I should say, of me creating this fluid art. So I'm going to do that right here. That was a really short reel. I recognize that. If you want to see a different tutorial that I have on fluid art where I slow down and explain my entire process, I'm going to go ahead and link it right up here. But after I created it, I let it dry for a good 24 hours, at least 12, but 24 hours is the recommended time, just so that your polishes, they dry thoroughly. You are going to have, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 layers of polish, so it is going to take a little while to fully dry. And after it dried, I just kind of peeled it off. This is a cellophane bag that I'm using, and I bought it in bulk from Amazon. So when there's, it gets too dirty from the polish, I'm just going to toss it in the garbage. It doesn't really cost too much. But if I can, like right here, this is still pretty relatively clean. There's still just a little bit of polish right there. I'm just going to reuse this. I'm going to show you how I apply these decals in just a second. In front of me, I have one of the newest collections by 𝓲𝓲𝓵𝓲𝓷𝓰. This collection has 7 colors in total. 4 of them are sun changers. Super fun. So let me go ahead and show you the colors. Rum Runner. It's a really pretty corally peachy glitter. So it has, some chunky glitters in here, but if you've used 𝓲𝓲𝓵𝓲𝓵 glitters before, they are just really easy to work with. Then you have Violet Fizz, which is another beautiful lavender, lilac, I don't know what color it is exactly, chunky glitter, and again, super easy to work with. On the Rocks is another chunky glitter, and it's a very muted lime green, if that makes any sense. It isn't like super loud, it's more of a subtle green. I don't know if that makes any sense. So this is so wearable by many different people. Now I'm going to show you the sun changers. This one is called Purple Haze, and this one is white with flakes and a little bit of glitter, but it turns purple. Then you have Bay Breeze, which is this beautiful peachy color, and it turns like a darker peach in the sun. Then Melon Mojito, it's another sun changer, and it's a green with flakes in it, and it turns like a darker green in the sun. Last but not least, you have Blue Hawaiian. It is a light blue with flakes in it, and it turns like a little bit of a darker blue in the sun. I'm going to go ahead and insert my swatching reel right after here that I posted on my Instagram. Going to be using Purple Haze in addition to the fluid art decals that I'm going to apply for you in just a sec. Here's the color that it turns to in the sun, and I use the UV flashlight just to do the bottom so you can see the color contrast. And I thought it would look super pretty with the fluid art polish here. I've really been enjoying the 𝓬𝓸𝓵 One Night Stand. This is a peel off base coat and I'm going to use that on my nails today. For my dip liquids, I am going to be using the Base Activator and Top Coat Dip Liquids by 𝓤𝓷𝓵𝓵. This is one of my go-to, I would say, top 2 to 3 dip liquids that I like to rotate through. They perform pretty well. They have a medium dry time and it's hard to contaminate. All the products that you'll see today from 𝓤𝓷𝓵 Dips, you can use the code FRIENDSGET10 to save 10% off. I just applied the peel off base coat and I'm going to let that dry. It dries relatively fast in just a few minutes, and then I only need one layer for it to pop off pretty easily. Base coat is dry. I'm just going to go in with a layer of the base liquid, and what this does is it helps the first layer of your dip not dry extremely fast. So don't go heavy on this. You don't need a lot. I'm just covering it with one thin layer as much as possible, and I'm going to let that dry, and then I will resume my dipping process. And that should dry relatively fast in a couple minutes, I would think. So some of the things I'm going to prepare for is I'm going to pour a little bit of acetone in the cap here. And I don't know where my dapping dish is, but I would usually use that. And the precision tool I'm going to be using today is by 𝓤𝓷𝓵. And I really like the dual end, and they recently redid this precision tool where instead of a wax tip, they now have the silicone tip to kind of help clean the gel off of your skin, if you will, before you cure. And at the other end, obviously, is the precision tool end. I dip my precision tool in the acetone and then I run it through my cuticles, and it keeps my cuticles nice and clean, as well as my tool nice and clean. Now this is a little trick that I picked up along the way, and it doesn't matter what kind of cuticle oil you use, but I do like the one with a brush. So I run the cuticle oil just around the skin. Don't touch your nail because that's going to cause lifting. But why I do this is that when you're dipping, you tend to get like base or even dip powder on your skin, and then this just kind of helps it a little easier to, kind of remove without you being so rough on your skin. So that's what I'm going to do to help the cleanup process a little bit more. And I'm hoping that by doing this, the dip powder, it's not going to stick to my skin. It'll kind of fall off a little easier. I'm also going to keep a sheet of paper towel here so I can wipe my brush on here so my powders don't contaminate my liquid. And it also serves as a place for me to wipe off my precision tool. What I'm going to do is save my ring and my middle finger for my Fluid Art decal so I can apply it on there. I'm going to dip one finger in regular motion, and then I'm going to fast forward the rest of this video. So since I'm using full cover tips, I don't really need to build an apex. But what I'll do is I'll go almost to my cuticle on my first layer, and then on my second layer I will go all the way. And since this first layer did not go near my cuticle, I don't really need to kind of clean it up. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. This should be dried already. I'm gonna go in and just dust off the excess, and then go in with my second layer. Take my acetone, dip it, my precision tool in it, and just kind of run it around my cuticles there. And that's about it. Now, there wasn't much to do with this. This laid extremely flat, very, very easy to work with. I love flakes, especially for beginners, if you will, because it's just really forgiving and it doesn't require a lot of, experience to use it, if you will. on to clear cap before I file. Taking a really stiff brush, go ahead and brush off the extra clear powder. Otherwise, it's going to make your dip underneath, especially glitters, muddy. Not muddy, but cloudy, if you will. All right, let me go ahead and activate, and then I'll file and buff offline. I'll do that a little later. But let me go ahead and activate just to kind of protect this right now. I'm going to go 2 layers of the activator just to make sure it's like extremely dry. Let that harden, but let me go ahead and work on my fluid art. What I do here is just kind of select the part I want to use. I cut off the parts that I know I'm not going to want to use, just so that I don't get like extremely confused. So now I'm just going to measure to see which part I want. I'm kind of liking this part. So let me cut this. You can use this, you can cut it and use it for like another nail if you want. So I'm just gonna use it right here. To apply the decal, I'm going to be using the 𝓕𝓲𝓵𝓲𝓾𝓲 long-lasting base. In the past, I used to use the 𝓕𝓲𝓼𝓬𝓷𝓼 sticky base coat, I think it was called, but it took a little longer for it to dry than I am willing to wait, I guess. This one dries like hell fast. So if you need more time to work and apply your decal, don't use this. This will dry within 5 to 10 seconds at most. The sticky base coat will give you at least 15 to 20 seconds. All right, so that was just a few seconds. So it's ready. Oh, I want to use this side. So after I put it on, I take one of these makeup sponges and kind of press it down. So it kind of helps with like the curvatures of your natural nail. And this decal is a little bit crispy. I don't know, I think I created it like 2 days ago and I haven't used it yet, so it's getting a little bit past its crispiness. So try to use it within a day. So what I'm doing next is I'm just kind of, if you can see, this is my nail right here. I'm not cutting the decal shorter than my nail. I'm leaving a little bit of an overhang because I don't want to cut off too much. Now we're going to cut the rest of the decal around the cuticle area here, and I'm using this cuticle tool. This one, it just so happens I really like this end of it where it's pointier and flat, so use whatever kind of you're comfortable with. I kind of like this one. So right now what I'm doing is I'm tracing the decal around my cuticle just so I know where to kind of cut it and I don't cut too much. So after I trace it, which I'm happy here, I'm gonna go in and kind of press it down to kind of release the decal from the little fold. Taking out any of the decal that I have in my cuticle area because I don't want the acetone to melt on it and then keep it in my cuticle. So I'm just kind of like picking it out, if you will. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take acetone and kind of like seal it. The brush that I've been really liking is the 𝓕𝓲𝓶𝓮𝓷𝓾 one. And the reason why I like it is it has a really micro tip cleanup brush. So it gets into a lot of little, you know, nooks and crannies. Taking my acetone, and I have my napkin right next to me. Taking a little bit of acetone and dabbing the excess off on my napkin, and I'm gonna run it around my cuticles to seal it. If you take too much acetone, it's gonna bleed and it's gonna ruin your decal or get all over your skin. So just go little. I'm just kind of running it around the cuticle area and then the free edges. Kind of get it to lay flat and seal it in. And now when I'm getting to kind of like the free edge, I'm folding it so that it kind of like lays flat, like tucks under, if you will, and then I'm melting it underneath my nail. You can decide to file it off, but what I found with the filing is that if you file it, sometimes the decal and the free edge, it kind of lifts and it creates a little gap. So I found this little technique from this is not my idea, but I saw someone do this, and I can't remember who, otherwise I give her credit, on IG, and I was like, wow, that's actually brilliant. Or maybe I saw it on YouTube, I can't remember. But yeah. All right, I just realized I did not hit the record button. So I did not record me top coating my decal nails here. I used a smudge-free top coat on these two nails, and I'm just gonna let it dry all the way. I tend to still use the smudge-free top coat even on the decals. I use regular polish because sometimes I find that regular, you know, lacquer top coat, it kind of like drags the color. So I don't see that it does that with the no smudge, smudge-free top coat, and this is the one by Maniology. And I have a discount code, Diana W10 saves you 10% off. After the decal nail dries, you can go in with any lacquer top coat that you want. Now for my other nails, I'm just going to go in and activate and top coat it with dip liquids. A couple minutes. I'm going to go in my top coat, and I have a napkin here to wipe my brush after the, you know, the first layer. The first layer, you're going to do 2 to 3 swipes on each nail and let that dry for like 30 seconds. So usually by the time that I did the first layer of top coat on all 5 nails, it's time to go back and do a second layer. I would say that's about 30 seconds. So I'm just going to go in, and at this time, I'm going to cap my free edge here because I am using pill base, so this helps keep my dip colors on a little longer. The decals are dry to the touch, so I am going to go in with the Miracle Gel Matte Top Coat by Sally Hansen. For some reason, I have really been digging matte nails. I don't have a matte top coat, dip top coat I should say, by Scene Designer, so I'm going to leave it glossy. Minutes, and these matte nails are going to need at least 10 minutes to dry, but the dip top coat is fully dried, and look how shiny it is. So let me go ahead and finish it off with any kind of cuticle oil, to be honest. This is just what I have in my, that's easy to reach. There you have it. We are all done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you liked it, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so. And while you're at it, turn on the bell to be notified when I upload new content. Take care, and I will catch you on my next video. Bye.